Hello and welcome to Monday's ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. Partners at a medical centre near Oxford hand in their notices as patients say they haven't been able to get an in-person doctor's appointment in years.
There must be a way of getting at least some GPs or locums even for the 8,000, 9,000 residents to be able to at least have a chance to see. At the moment, there's no chance of seeing a GP.
Previously unseen dresses, robes, crowns and coronets. Blenheim celebrates its centuries-old relationship with the royal family.
Also this Monday, the rare 8-foot shark washed up on a Hampshire beach thousands of miles from home. More questions tonight about how it got there.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
And singing their way to feeling good, hundreds come together to help answer the age-old question, what makes you happy? Good evening. Patients of 2 GP surgeries say they're having to go to A&E instead of their local doctor because they won't get an appointment.
Healthcare for 13,000 people looks uncertain as partners at the Botley Medical Centre and Kennington Health Centre near Oxford handed in their notice blaming staff shortages and an increasing workload.
Well, in an online letter to patients, the GP said their decision followed several difficult years. The NHS says it hopes a new provider will take over the surgeries, but local patients say they've lost faith. Natalie Verney has the story.
Mick has type 2 diabetes. His wife has Parkinson's disease and a heart condition. He says despite their serious illnesses, it's almost impossible to get a face-to-face appointment with their doctor.
I personally am worried because sometimes when my wife or myself have been ill, quite ill, you wonder, what's going to happen. And it's forcing people from this village to go to A&E because they know they're not going to see a GP here.
Botley Medical Centre, which also has a branch in Kennington, has had a troubled few years. Rated inadequate in 2021, it was put in special measures. Since then, things have slowly improved, and in October last year, they were rated as good. But Mick says it's still poorly run. Just last month, they declined essential blood-thinning medicine for his wife and failed to notify them.
Excuse me, I said, but declined? She's had this for 15, 20 years. We've never had a problem. I said, and the other thing is, how are we to know that it's been declined when you've not even bothered to contact us to say that? And I told them that this is life and death. She has to have that, otherwise she could die.
In January, one of the partners retired, leaving just 2 GPs to serve both practices. They failed to find a replacement, blaming a national shortage of GPs. Last week, they handed in their notice. In a statement, they said, "We have struggled to fill our vacancies right across the practice staff team for several years. We've worked hard to find ways to keep the practice going with a full range of services, but despite the best efforts of our dedicated team, we feel we cannot offer our patients the care they deserve in the long term due to our workforce shortages and significant increase in demand."
Unfortunately, it's happening more and more. We're seeing practices close, doctors leave, because the workload is going up, and it feels like the government really just wants to pile more and more pressure on us, and we don't feel supported. We see, £1.5 billion going to support hospitals with their inflationary pressures, and nothing has come to general practice.
In a statement, the Department of Health and Social Care said the number of doctors in general practice rose by 2,000 when compared to December 2019, with record numbers now in training. Since 2019, we've also recruited over 25,000 primary care staff into various roles. Mick also believes there are enough GPs in the workforce.
I'm not saying there is GPs, a lot of GPs around, but why is it that the other surgeries in Abingdon and in Blackbird Leys have a full complement of GPs, and when those GPs go on holiday, they've got locums to fill in, yet we don't get no one? It's a disgrace.
The local integrated care board has 6 months to find a new provider. It says in the meantime, patients should continue to access care from Botley and Kennington as normal. Natalie Verney, ITV News.
In other news, a former GP from Berkshire accused of multiple indecent assaults on female patients has been found not guilty on one of the counts. 63-year-old Stephen Cox worked at Ralph Bride Surgery in Bracknell, which is now known as the Waterfield practice, more than 2 decades ago. It was alleged the assaults took place between 1990 and 1997. After 18 hours of deliberations, the jury was unable to reach majority verdicts on the remaining 7 counts of indecent assault. The Crown Prosecution Service has 7 days to consider its options.
A man has gone on trial accused of murdering a man at Reading Station with a horseshoe. Thomas Parker, who was 24, was attacked on a platform on the 30th of July last year. The court heard Thomas and his brother had become involved in a row on the train about loud music, which they asked to be turned down. 42-year-old Kirkpatrick Virgo from Slough has admitted manslaughter and possession of an offensive weapon, but has pleaded not guilty to murder.
Video has been released of a raid at a mobile phone shop in Swindon. 2 men wearing balaclavas used hammers to break demonstration stands and steal iPhones at the 3 store on Regent Street on the 23rd of February.
A memorial woodland is to be planted in Berkshire to remember those who died during the pandemic and as a place of reflection. Around 6,500 trees will be planted on around 20 acres of land at the California Country Park in Finch-Hampstead. Planting will start in September.
Now, firefighters have helped remove a 200-year-old flagpole at Oxfordshire's Blenheim Palace. The roof of the flagstaff is being returned to lead as part of a £2 million conservation project at the palace. It will be returned in the autumn, while the crew from Rooley Road used the operation as an exercise in using a hydraulic platform at an historic building.
Well, meanwhile, Blenheim is celebrating its centuries-old relationship with the royal family with a major new exhibition that opened over the weekend. It includes some previously unseen dresses, robes, crowns and coronets from royal weddings and coronations. The exhibition at the palace will run through until the end of July. It will also feature an ornate cap worn by Queen Anne, which has undergone conservation and will be on public display for the very first time.
The exhibition is Royal Connections, Crowns and Coronets here at Blenheim Palace, and it celebrates the relationship of the Spencer Churchill family and the royal family dating back to the first Duke and Duchess of Marlborough in the early 1700s. Our guests can come and see a collection of a beautiful original throne from Hatfield House, costumes from various TV shows, original archival documents and some beautiful paintings and drawings as well. This dress has been in storage due to its age and condition for many, many years. We did conserve it in 2022, so we were able to display it. It will only be on display for the exhibition, and then sadly we'll have to go back into storage for its protection.
Wow, that is beautiful, isn't it? Fascinating as well that they've got that on with the King obviously being crowned this May. Fascinating stuff, I like that. Now you are watching ITV News Meridian in the Thames. We've got lots more for you, so do stay tuned, including in sport, how Reading ended their run of 4 straight championship defeats.
Well, that has lifted the spirits of Royals fans, but what also makes you happy? Maybe it's singing, maybe it's not. We'll be finding out on International Day of Happiness.
You can hear me singing, so that doesn't bode well, does it? Now, for more than across the Thames Valley, go to itv.com/Meridian. Give us a call if you like, the number on the screen. Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
Now, it is the 20th anniversary of the start of the invasion of Iraq by a coalition of forces led by the UK and the US. The subsequent conflict cost the lives of 179 British personnel, with many more left injured both physically and mentally.
Well, an armed forces charity that represents veterans here in the south says some former service personnel are only coming forward now to get help. Kevin Ashford has been talking to some of those dealing with the consequences of the war in Iraq.
All right, mate. All right.
Good morning.
All right, cheers, mate.
It's a friendship forged in the darkest of times. Simon Brown and Warren Ward both served in the British forces in Iraq during the Allied invasion, which began 20 years ago. Simon was shot in the face while out on patrol. Warren drove the vehicle that got him to safety.
I would never put it down to one person because there were so many people on the ground at the time. You know, that it was a team effort. But yeah, he was one of the key elements to me getting to the medical facilities.
Warren continued serving and was later severely injured himself in a mortar attack. At one stage he was told he would never walk again. During his recovery, his mental health suffered. He drew strength from a thank you letter that Simon had dictated while he was in hospital.
I again want to thank you for your efforts in saving my life, and congratulations to you on a spanking piece of driving. I know for a fact this letter has saved my life twice. On one occasion I was depressed and I didn't know what was up with me. I felt like I didn't fit into civilian life or society, and I got this letter out and I read it, and it didn't cheer me up, but it gave me positivity, if that makes any sense.
The impact of the Iraq War is still being widely felt. Richard French from Littlehampton in Sussex represents the Armed Forces charity SAFA across the south of England. He says some veterans from the conflict are only coming forward now to get help.
We're here to support all veterans, no matter what conflict they're in, but certainly veterans from Iraq as well. In terms of people coming forward for the first time, that still happens a lot. Mental health issues like PTSD can take 20 years to come to the forefront, sometimes longer. So sometimes people are only being affected for the first time at the minute coming forward.
Carol Betteridge from Dorset has helped treat casualties in wars all over the world. She served as a nursing officer in the Royal Navy, rising to the rank of captain. She now heads the medical team at the Help for Heroes charity. Carol says it's often not just the veterans of conflicts like Iraq who need support.
Behind every injured soldier there's an injured family, so that's what's important to us in delivering our holistic care, is that we look at that veteran, that serving personnel as a whole. So their family, their friends, their support system, their chosen family, which might be a neighbour or a friend. You know, we look after them all as a package, really.
The 20th anniversary of the start of the Iraq War is going to be an emotional time for many, as they reflect on those who lost their lives and those who are still living with the consequences of the conflict. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
In other news, a brawl broke out between football fans in Southampton after the Saints match against Tottenham on Saturday.
Officers were called just after 6 p.m. to reports of violent disorder between supporters on Terminus Terrace, where tables, chairs and glasses were thrown and a man was assaulted. 10 people were arrested.
An ambulance service initiative is helping more than 50,000 patients a year to receive the right treatment more quickly and often avoid transfer to emergency departments. Led by South Central Ambulance Service, Clinical Pathways sees ambulance staff assess patients at home, working with consultants in hospitals, community teams and GPs to determine a patient's next steps.
More than 2.5 million people visited Oxford University's attractions last year. Sites included the university's gardens, libraries and museums. Well, the university says different events, including free ones, will be running over Easter and the spring holidays for people to enjoy.
Now, the ITV Evening News, of course, continues after us with the national and international news at 6:30. With the details for us tonight is Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on tonight's programme, the climate time bomb is ticking. We've got a special report from Pakistan, which is still recovering from devastating floods, as the UN warns urgent action is required. The DUP confirms it will be voting against Rishi Sunak's new Brexit deal. Vladimir Putin meets with China's President Xi in a political boost for Russia. And Tesco makes a big change to its club card scheme. But what will it mean for customers' points? Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
We certainly will. Now, it's one of the more surreal stories of the weekend. An 8-foot shark washed up on a Hampshire beach thousands of miles from home.
Well, the discovery could have given scientists a rare opportunity to study the body, to understand how it got here and possibly even more about climate change. But before they could recover it, its head and tail, crucial for the research, were chopped off and taken by trophy hunters.
Well, it all happened on Leap Beach, where our reporter Rachel Hepworth is for us tonight. Rachel, so the big question is, has the head been returned?
Well, Amanda, that really is a question I never expected to have to answer directly, but sadly, no, the head hasn't been recovered yet. It all sounds rather grisly, but the reason why scientists want to recover the head is because the brain and the teeth are the bits that are most vital for tracing the shark's history, exactly how it got here to Leap Beach and how it died even, but also how it came here so many thousands of miles away from where it normally lives. This is what a small-toothed sand tiger shark looks like in its natural surroundings. In this case, the Mariana Trench in the Pacific, some 14,000 miles away. Sadly, a cold beach in Hampshire was its final resting place, filmed by Chris Bolcombe, who'd just been for a swim.
Very impressive set of teeth, yes. It wouldn't have attacked me, but I think if the thing had come up beside me, I could have died of a heart attack. You see all sorts down here, and it was a beautiful creature, really, and such a sad end to it.
But that wasn't quite the end. Overnight on Saturday, trophy hunters struck. This most likely the saw that was used. Some residents had tried to secure the scene, among them broadcaster Dan Snow.
So I came down as quickly as I could, and the shark was on the beach, but its head had been chopped off. And the head is where all the information is that scientists want to know, really.
It's not illegal to have taken the remains, but it means biologists have lost an important resource. This type of shark is in decline, and its arrival comes months after Thor the walrus was spotted in nearby Calshot.
There are some global trends of species moving more northwards and water masses being where they shouldn't be in general, water temperature increasing. But there's no way that we can pinpoint a single event necessarily back to that precisely.
Dan was able to recover some of the shark's body parts, now preserved in a big fridge in Exbury to be collected by the Zoological Society tomorrow.
It's quite a sad tale, Rachel. And what do people who've been at the beach, what do they think about what's happened?
Well, most people have told me that they've been rather bemused by what's been really a surreal weekend. As you can see there at the moment, pretty quiet on the beach. Not many people out today. You can just see as Paul swings around. You can see the Isle of Wight over there across the Solent. These were the waters that the shark was swimming in on Friday. And a few people we spoke to said that they actually saw that shark swimming there alive and well on Friday and were very saddened to hear that it hadn't survived. Also very sad to hear that people had made off with part of it as well. But of course, we still are waiting to find the head. If anyone out there knows where it is, well, both we and the scientists would really love to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm sure they would. Rachel, thank you very much indeed. Sad tale, isn't it, really?
Yeah, certainly an interesting one.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow.
To the Football League now, including wins for Portsmouth and relegation-threatened Crawley. First up, Reading's point from the visit of Hull.
Reading boss Paul Ince says this stage of their season isn't about playing pretty football, it's about getting points. And after what he described as sloppy play sent them a goal down, the Royals did grab an important point when Andy Carroll sent the sides level. Portsmouth's victory at Bristol Rovers moved them up into 9th place, 7 points off Bolton in 6th. Colby Bishop's double means John Messino's men do have a slim chance of reaching the playoffs. Oxford United's new boss Liam Manning was denied a winning start from his new team's trip to Morecambe. It had looked to be the perfect start with Marcus Brown slotting home to send the U's a goal up. They were cruelly denied victory though, just 3 minutes from time. It was Crawley Town's first away win of the season that lifted them away from the drop. Ashley Nadestone's early strike proved the difference at Wimbledon. Joy for the travelling Reds, dismay for home fans who've now gone 10 games without a win.
It's been a very long time coming. The lads put in an unreal shift. We said at half time if we get a clean sheet, we win the game, and that's ultimately what's happened, and it's really good to get 3 points away from home.
Charlie Austin scored all 4 Swindon goals at relegation-threatened Rochdale. Despite that huge personal feat, though, his side had to settle for a point, with the hosts levelling deep into added time.
Yeah, it's not a bad week on the whole.
We'll take it.
Yeah,
we
thank
will.
you.
Now, hundreds of people have been at the Engineerium in Hove today for a number of workshops, speeches and activities to mark International Day of Happiness.
The events show lifting spirits can have a positive effect on your health. We sent Tom Savidis along.
1, 2, 3, and show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
What brings a smile to your face?
I had a little drink about an hour ago.
Could it be singing?
Do you have to be a good singer?
No! The thing I love to say to anyone who wants to sing is it's really not about being fantastic at singing. Singing's a feeling. It's about just letting yourself go, letting what you've got on the inside out. The only people who should be good at singing are people who are paid to do it.
A bit of sport, perhaps? Or do certain types of food make you happy?
Well, I did jokingly say food and shopping, which I think probably a lot of people find makes them happy.
I would say good social life, so being able to spend time with friends and family.
A good cup of coffee, being outside even in the rain, and love of family and friends.
And also in the therapy rooms.
The Get Happier event at the Engineerium in Hove has been organised to bring communities together.
Even introverts like being around other people.
It's to get people talking and interacting with each other.
Very few of us are motivated to be more miserable, right? Even though we might get a lot of things wrong, we're still trying to feel better, to be happier, to feel more content with our lives, to enjoy the things that we do, to get pleasure and purpose in the activities that we engage in.
Wenway, show me how it's done. Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. Tom Savidis playing table tennis and singing at the same time. ITV News, Hove.
Wonderful, you're a brave man. Tom literally made that story sing. Will the weather be music to our ears? Is James Wright.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello there, good evening. So Saturday saw us get the equilux, that's the same amount of daytime and nighttime. Now it's the equinox, so it's properly spring, and this is properly spring weather. The jet stream pushing a little bit further south, circulating all those lows nearby. All of those have got plenty of showers and rain bands on them, and that's what we've got tonight after a grey murky evening, indeed a grey murky day. We've got this cold front pushing through. It's going to see us get about 2 hours of rain, and some of that could be a little bit on the heavy side. A little bit breezy as that system pushes through too, and a bit of a slow clearance, so a fair hangback of clouds. As far as temperatures go, it's going to be a mild one. Temperatures down to about 8 or 9 Celsius. So tomorrow, a bit of a slow start to the day, few outbreaks of rain, and then we'll start to see things brighten up. But the brightening up process helps to trigger these showers, and a couple of those could turn out to be fairly heavy. Might be a little bit drier near the coast though. As far as temperatures go, looking at highs of 13 or 14 Celsius, so a bit milder than today. That said, quite a noticeable breeze, so it might not feel that mild. As far as Wednesday goes, a repeat performance. Another cold front moves through. This one's got a bit of a tail on it, so it will be a proper damp start to the day. Then hopefully we'll start to see something a bit brighter into the afternoon. Temperatures 13 Celsius, so again, not doing too badly. And then Thursday is set to be, again, a bit of a breezy affair. We've got a whole load of showers around and about, so that'll be hit and miss, hopefully a few bright spells in between. And it looks as though that will be a repeat performance on Friday. More showers.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Well, that forecast isn't making me feel too happy at all.
No.
And just to make the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
That is it from us for now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.